Welcome to the Insurance Agents and Brokers Podcast.
Hello everyone. First of all, let me begin by saying that I hope all of you are doing well today. Let me introduce myself. I'm Don Bankus, IA&B's Legal and Corporate Affairs Director, and I'd like to welcome you to the May 2023 Primary Agent edition of Don's Discussions. So without further ado, let's get to this month's Q&A. This month's question is there an age at which a licensed insurance producer becomes totally exempt from the requirement to take continuing education in order to renew his or her license? And the answer is, while the statutes and regulations governing CE requirements vary for each of IA&B's 3 states, the good news, at least if you're an optimist, is that each state may provide at least some degree of exemption or credit for the seasoned producer. The available exemptions/credits are as follows. For Delaware licensees, general CE requirement. As all Delawareans are aware, resident licensees are required to complete 24 credit hours of CE during each 24-month licensing period. Applicable exemption credit. In Delaware, a licensee who has been continuously licensed for 25 years or longer prior to the start of their licensing period, or who holds an approved professional designation, shall receive an automatic 12 credits in each biennium. Of note regarding the exemption credit, the 12-hour automatic credits cannot be applied to fulfill any applicable flood, 2 hours, ethics, 3 hours, or long-term care, 3 hours, CE exemptions or requirements. Applicable statutes, regulations. The applicable statute in Delaware is referred to as 18 Delaware Administrative Code, Section 504 at subsection 8.3. For Maryland licensees, general CE requirement. Again, Maryland licensees are required to complete 24 credit hours during each 24-month licensing period. Exemption credit. If a licensee has held a license for 25 or more consecutive years as of October 1, 2008, the licensee shall only be required to complete 8 hours of CE in each renewal period. Of note, if you qualify for the referenced exemption, you are still required to meet the flood, 2 hours, ethics, 3 hours, and long-term care, 2 hours, CE requirements if applicable. Maryland's grandfathering exemption. In addition to the above statutory exemption/credit, per the Maryland Insurance Administrators Producer Bulletin number 13-07, licensees who were age 70 and above as of April 30, 2013 are exempt from the general CE requirements. Of note, if a licensee qualifies for the grandfathering exemption, he or she is still required to meet the flood, 2 hours, and long-term care, 2 hours, CE requirements if applicable. Applicable statutes and regulations. The applicable statute in Maryland is referred to as Maryland Insurance Code Section 10-116. The applicable Maryland regulation is referred to as Code of Maryland Regulations, which Maryland licensees commonly know as COMAR, at Section 31.03.02.03 at subsection B, and the applicable MIA Producer Bulletin is Bulletin number 1307, specifically at subsection Roman numeral 2. For Pennsylvania licensees, general requirement. As is the case for Delaware and Maryland, Pennsylvania licensees are also required to complete 24 credit hours during each 24-month licensing period. Grandfathering exemption. A licensee who was licensed prior to January 1, 1971, and who has been continuously licensed for all lines of authority since that time is exempt from Pennsylvania CE requirements. Of note, if the licensee adds a line of authority during his or her tenure as a licensee, or if a licensee lets his or her license lapse, the exemption becomes inapplicable. Applicable statutes, regulations. The applicable statute in Pennsylvania is referred to as 40 Purdon's statutes at Section 310.8. As you can see, none of our 3 states is overly generous with regard to eliminating and/or reducing a seasoned professional's CE requirements. And while we continue to lobby the state's respective insurance departments and legislatures for amendments or revisions to broaden eligibility for grandfathering and/or elimination of CE credits, our attempts have thus far failed to bear any fruit. And there you have it. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out and contact me at 800-998-9644 at extension 603, or email me at donb@iab4me.com. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day, and please continue to be well and safe.
Insurance Agents and Brokers is the premier resource and champion for independent insurance agencies in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. For more information, visit iab4me.com. This is not a legal opinion and should not be relied upon as such. The intent is to provide general background regarding the topics discussed, not to provide legal advice. Producers and agencies should consult an attorney regarding specific situations and questions with respect to the topics covered. Neither IA&B or any of its employees shall be responsible for any errors or omissions regarding any statements, nor any statutes, regulations, court rules, and/or government documents cited.